I'm Doug from Global West. Thought I'd take a minute here to talk to you about these two upper control arms we have here. Now these happen to be for Impala 1959 through 64. This is for the rear. Now we built two different upper control arms back there. We make a TBC-94 and this is a TBC-99. And if you'll notice, this one's got a bend to it. Now let me explain why we do this. The TBC-94 is generally used with a stock differential. The way that goes is this. This attaches to the differential side. The frame side's got a bearing to it. And the differential center line is actually more like right here. It's not directly underneath the bushing. It's actually further forward. So when the suspension moves up and down, the rear end gets real close to the upper control arm. But when you're running a stock differential, this straight arm clears with no trouble whatsoever. But now let's talk about going to a Ford 9-inch. Well, a Ford 9-inch has a much larger axle tube. And so what happens is, if you try to run this straight upper arm on a Ford 9-inch with a larger diameter axle tube, it actually can come up and tag this upper control arm during suspension movement. So we can't run a straight upper arm with a Ford rear end. So that's why we build this. This is a TBC-99. Now if you notice, since this attaches to the differential, we've got all this area here for the Ford axle tube to come up and clear. And it's still adjustable. The way we adjust the pinion angle on the TBC-99, you've got a rod end here, you've got jam nuts. This, by the way, is a safety plate. So let's say you have a lot of horsepower, and let's say the rod end will try to break or something like that. Well, this safety plate keeps everything intact. It's right here, okay? You probably won't see that on too many control arms, okay? But basically, the pinion angle is adjusted by, we've got an arrangement in here, so where all you have to do is put a 9/16 wrench on here and rotate this, and this moves the rod end in or out for adjusting your pinion angle. Very nice little setup. And if you'll notice, there's a grease fitting here as well, and that grease fitting allows you to lube the internals in here so it doesn't bind up. On the straight arm, the 94, all you got to do is loosen these jam nuts right here, turn this adjuster, and this changes the length of the upper arm so you can set your pinion angle. So for the 59 through 64 Impalas, we have two different setups that you could use depending on what differential you have for adjusting your pinion angle and giving you a performance application. Now here's one thing. When you're running, let's say most of these cars have one upper control arm and you want to add the second upper arm. We have a kit to do that. The second upper arm comes with this control arm, because even though you're running a stock differential, part of this has to sit on the pumpkin, and so you got to have this area open for suspension travel. Otherwise the rear end will come up and hit if you try to run a straight run. So what we do, or what we suggest, is if you're building your car, unless you're going to keep the stock rear, then what you want to do is you want to order the TBC-99s, and so they actually look alike. Even though you don't need it on the one side, it's just better to do it that way. Otherwise you'll have the straight one on one side and this on the other. It kind of looks a little funny. So plan out what you're going to do for the rear, knowing that you've got these different applications that you could use, and they're sold individually. Like I say, this is a TBC-94, TBC-99, Ford 9-inch no matter what. If you're running an extra upper arm, you're going to get this arm in the kit. Then what you would do is buy two of these, and so they look the same. A nice easy setup, works every time. Great for setting your pinion angle. And that's pretty much it.